this one's set up. It's set up as a post fader send, and like right now you'll see that there's a lot of things are around 0, some things are a little bit above or below 0. What I like to normally do for that, I like to normally start with everything, all my inputs at 0 post fader, so that it's going to be 100% a mirror of what I'm doing in the room. So whenever I turn something up or down, I'm getting the exact same amount of it online. And then over time, if I notice trends like, man, I feel like I'm just getting too much bass in the online mix versus what I'm using in the room, well then I'll come into this mix and I'll turn the bass up a little bit and give myself more of that. Yeah. It's not a mix where where I would ever think, oh, I'm going to open this up and just sit here and mix the thing. No, I want to just find where I need to adjust for differences between what I'm doing in the room to make online sound great. So if I find places where I'm like, I just feel like I'm, like right now the kick is turned down. So I don't know if somebody intentionally did that and said, we're just getting more kick online than what we actually need in the room, is that somebody pulled that back. And so there's a few things like that. So I don't know if this is in a great spot right now, or if this is something that has been already kind of dialed in and people are happy with. But I like to just use it as something that's referenced as 0 is normal, and then I can add or subtract things where I need more of or less of versus what I need in the room.
We are still working with it because, and really our philosophy right now is that we have 2 campuses. We have an online campus and we have a in-person campus, and we really need to remember those online people.
Absolutely.
Right now,
especially right now.
Right now, we would say they're at least half of us are there. The numbers we use, which it's hard to count the online people, but the numbers we use have twice as many people, because we see twice as many, eyes on different places where we're putting the service. So we really got to be thinking about that.
Yeah.
So if I want to hear this through the headphones, how do I?
Nice shortcut is anytime you're adjusting these mixes in here, and you can see I'm just selecting them and it's just jumping around. If I select one and tap it a second time, it's going to cue it. It's going to set up my headphones.
Good.
So I can truly be listening to it while it's happening. But like I said, one of the things that I would like to do by default normally is like pull my effects down about 5 dB in this mix, which is still here from when I originally set that up. I like to do that so that, because a lot of times where I want a ton of effects in the room, it sounds great in the room. Online, it can sound really overdone. And so I like to kind of pull my effects back a little bit relative to what I'm doing in the room. But I like this to be something where you get it, like over time, you're making little tweaks to it so that week to week, you can literally just mix front of house and your online mix is going to sound great. And you can listen to it and check up on it. But I don't want it to be something where you feel like you're always having to go sit there and make changes to it. I want it to be something where if you mix front of house really, really well and make occasional adjustments to this long term, this mix is going to sound awesome online just based on what you're doing in the room without needing to reinvent the wheel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good questions. Anything else?
How often would we need to check that, though? I mean, is there's a way to put the earphones on and say this is what they're hearing online?
Yeah, that's what I just showed. I mean, you can cue that mix up and listen to it, so you can listen to it. So it's a good thing to do from time to time. Or if you have somebody who's kind of managing that live stream and moderating it and having them listen to it. If it's somebody who, it'd be good if it's somebody who knows music enough to say, hey, I need less of this, and could kind of communicate that over time.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that I would just poke through, here and then while you're mixing, like when you're in a spot where I'm a very hands-on mixer. You rarely see me with my hands in my pockets when I'm mixing, but sometimes it's good to intentionally take a minute when things are kind of settled. You don't need to be pushing a fader. Throw the headphones on, listen to that, and make sure it's still doing well. Or even listening to that while you're mixing front of house for a minute, because again, they should be a pretty good correlation to each other. So even if I'm still mixing front of house and not actually looking at those faders, I can still be listening to that mix and adjusting and mixing front of house and making some changes. So that's like when. In my home church, that's basically what I did when we were online only during COVID. I was basically just still mixing front of house with ears in, listening to the broadcast mix.
Yeah.
Good questions.